picks. Let's go ahead and move to the offensive player of the year market as well. And I'm going to turn it back over to Steve. You're staying with the Bengals here. What are you liking over there?
Yeah, this kind of goes, if Eric's prediction comes true, I think my prediction comes true. I think we both make money on this. Jamar Chase, offensive player of the year. We saw when T. Higgins was there what Jamar Chase was capable of, right? He was a triple crown winner. He led in receptions, yards, touchdowns. I fully expect him to build upon those numbers. I actually wouldn't be surprised, and I know this is going to sound insane, but with today's NFL being the way it is, and Jamar Chase kind of being the guy he is, and he just got that huge extension, and Joe Burrow is chasing an MVP, would it be out of the realm of possibility for Jamar Chase to break the all-time single season yards record for receiving?
It's tough for me with, and maybe it shouldn't be because
if Joe Burrow throws 50 touchdowns, is it unreasonable to think that Jamar Chase breaks Randy Moss's touchdown record that he set with Tom Brady?
I was on this same path, Steve. I was on the same path a couple weeks ago, and I thought, like, this is like, I was actually looking at Jamar Chase 150 to 1 for MVP just to maybe take a little cash out down the road. And then the T. Higgins signing happens. And, like, I guess it's good for each other because you draw coverage off of each other and, like, you can work better with one another. Is that kind of what you're thinking here? You're like,
it actually is proven in the splits that I believe Jamar Chase performs better when T. Higgins plays.
Okay. Eric, any thoughts on Jamar Chase here at 10 to 1?
I think this is totally in range, right? And you mentioned that you were thinking about looking him up in the MVP market. The MVP market is and will always be a quarterback award, right? But the offensive player of the year is where they start looking at some of the skill positions, and we're
I almost say that
Chase.
Is the skill position award now. They kind of like almost like.
Yeah, 100%. And Jamar Chase is coming off the season where he led the NFL in receiving yards by a lot. He had 1,700. The next closest was Amon-Ra St. Brown at 1,263, right? So he, with T. Higgins out there, T. Higgins is actually kind of on a 1-year deal yet again. So, I'm not really worried about, any deviation from what we've seen about these two players' ability to perform when
that was a 1-year deal for T. Higgins.
It's essentially $20 million this year, and he's got a $10 million guarantee for injury next year, and then he's kind of off the hook. At least he can be off the books for the Bengals. So they did some contract magic, which they had to do to afford both these guys. But nevertheless, I digress. T. Higgins was out there for the vast majority of the season last year, where Jamar Chase had almost 500 more receiving yards than anybody else in the league, right? So I think what we're seeing as we, bring up different iterations of this same bet is we all believe that the Bengals offense is going to be one of the most high velocity.
Got to get off to a hot start.
Of the NFL.
Hot start. We need a hot start, man. It's always the start of the season that fucks them.
They also have to be a hot offense. That's the other thing is we didn't mention they don't have a fucking defensive player on that entire roster. No. There is nobody playing defense. They're going to have to win games 75 to 72.
Well, you had Sam Hubbard just retire, I believe, as well. So, like, they've been losing a lot of pieces on this defense for years. They just lost one of their captains there in Hubbard as well. And Trey Hendrick's still unsigned. So we'll kind of see what happens with that, whether they trade him or but regardless, I think definitely like pass. I know I was mocking it all off season that a pass rusher should go to the Bengals. I had Jack Sawyer there initially. Preview of mock draft 2.0 I've been teasing for weeks. I'm not finished, but Mike Green is probably going to be the pick there, I think, for me. So they'll definitely add some pieces. But you're dead on, Steve. Absolutely dog shit defense. They fired their defensive coordinator as well. Ben in the chat saying if Chase goes triple crown back to back, he should definitely get it. Agreed with you there. Also saying Tony Pollard looks happy that someone is giving the Titans a look at 200 to 1. That's a good call. Tony Pollard is probably happy. That is a happy Tony Pollard. Look at him.
That was before he actually had to play for the Titans.
Dude, Nashville, that'd be a good place to live, though. At least be a good place to live. I got one more offensive player of the year candidate that I'm going to throw out here, and it's 50 to 1 for Malik Nabers. I love this bet. It's at FanDuel as well, which you guys know is my favorite place to place futures because they hedge so aggressively against themselves that they are offering cash outs all the time. And this is 30-1 at most other books. So I think there's a ton of value here. Finding 50-1 only at FanDuel. I initially placed this after the Jameis signing because I kind of figured that was backup money, but at the same time, I was like, giddy up. Like, regardless if Jameis becomes the quarterback, it means good things for Malik Nabers. And I don't hate Russell Wilson signing with the team earlier today either. I'm still on board with that. And he's had good success, Russ, over his career with number ones, whether it's Doug Baldwin back in the day, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett when he had the brief stunt as the number one in Seattle as well. Him and Cortland Sutton, that second year in Denver, had a pretty good connection as well. And like him and GP kind of all over the place, but that's kind of just GP, not showing up for games and shit. Offense, though, like already pretty much in place, other than upgrading that offensive line, I think based on the money that they gave Darius Slayton, like he's probably going to play that flanker still, probably Wandale in the slot unless they go after someone on day 2 or day 3. Theo Johnson back at tight end. He showed a lot of promise. And like, we already know what Malik Nabers did last year. Like, this guy is absolutely nasty. 170 targets, 109 receptions, 1,200 yards, and a boatload of touchdowns as well. And like that was playing with Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito, plus little Drew Lock at the end of the season. Whether it's Russ, whether it's Jameis Winston throwing the ball, or whether it's fucking Shedeur Sanders, those are all huge upgrades, guys. Like more than anything, this is a value play on Malik Nabers. 30-1, as I said, most other books. I'm getting it 50-1 at FanDuel. Steve, I know you're a big Malik Nabers guy. You have to at least like this bet, right?
I liked it a lot more before Russell Wilson signed there. I'll tell you that much. I liked it a lot more before Russ signed there.
That felt inevitable. That felt like Thanos. You know what I mean?
I was shocked that he did. I thought, if nothing else, the Giants would just look and go, you know what? This isn't the year to have a quarterback. We'll just go out there, do what we do, and blah, blah, blah. Right? Like maybe draft a rookie or something.
Guys playing for Russell, hey, maybe they still do though. There's still a great chance they
could.
Do.
But Russell Wilson, one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't force the ball to guys. He's not a big force feeder of his receivers, and that's what you kind of need. And that's what Malik Nabers is going to need a little bit because I
think he will when he plays with Nabers.
There's no other weapon that's going to scare defenses enough for him not to be double covered all the time. And Russ is playing to try to prove that he still got it to some degree, and we know he doesn't. We watched him in Pittsburgh last year. Like, yes, he used to be good. He's no longer good. The arm isn't what it used to be. It's just I think it's going to be kind of boring. I think Malik Nabers is actually, I had him as like the wide receiver 1 with Jameis. Now it's probably closer to that 10 range right now.
Okay. Eric, any more disapproval from you on this bet, or do you actually like a value play on Nabers?
Yeah, specifically framed that way. I think that this is a nice value, right? We want to look at last year as prologue. Malik Nabers' 170 targets was the second most in the NFL, and behind they haven't
Chase,
really
right?
done
Only Chase, I think.
Behind Chase, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I believe it was by 175 for Chase. So, they haven't really done anything that would lead you to believe that their target distribution is going to be much different. While Russell Wilson is certainly has his better days behind him, he's still got the heater, right? He's got the moon
ball, baby, yeah.
That he will continue to.
And we didn't see a lot of that from Nabers either. The deep ball last year, he was more possession guy.
A lot of Nabers' productivity was yards after the catch, right? Mm-hmm. So if Russell Wilson's arm has kind of cooled off a little bit, we can still trust him to get the ball into a winning position for Malik Nabers where he can create some yak, and then every now and again he'll have that moon ball upside, right? So I don't think that Malik Nabers should be a favorite to win this award necessarily. Yeah, but he's got the talent to where he can be in this conversation, and he certainly shouldn't be plus 5,000, right? I think he should be a little bit closer to like the top 5 or 7 in odds. So that value in and of itself, specifically at FanDuel, who gets a little bit itchy trying to let some of their longest shots off the hook with buyouts, is exactly what you're looking for.
Absolutely.